The world of keyboards can be extremely intriguing and fun, but you get to a point where when you have so many of them, as I do, you ask yourself, do I need another one? The Aturia, the Akai MIDI keyboards, the Alesis, the Korg mini key, a Kawaii Baby Grand. This one from Roland, the Roland Axe Edge, which is a totally different type of keyboard. The Roland Go Keys, which is a lot of fun to play, extremely lightweight. And then you get into the older one here, the Motif XF8. I love this keyboard, gives me great sound, great response. Love playing on the piano, awesome. It's got nice layers, a lot of control. I ain't complaining. I bought this keyboard in 2010 thereabouts, and it's just been a blast to play. Then we have the Korg Triton, which I bought in 2000. This keyboard is 25 years old. And then we have over here one that I bought on a whim, a Casio, which has the ability to speak and sing. And let's not forget the Ensoniq TS12 at the side. And finally, let's not forget this one, the Korg OASYS. The father of all the keyboards. Way back in the day, this would cost roughly $7,000. So with a collection like this, of all sorts of keyboards, you might ask, is there any keyboard that you wish you had? And the answer is, not that I wish I had, but I'm glad I have. The Yamaha DGX-670. What I love about this keyboard is it gives me the ability to sequence rapidly and create a lot of my own user patterns and songs. And very recently, I built my own virtual piano, as you can see here. And I can play chords on this virtual keyboard. Very helpful when I'm on the road and trying to compose melodies. And you can find that virtual piano at philc.net, phillc.net. So the question is, Phil, how do you feel about the latest keyboards you've been showing? The MODX M8 and the Montage. So let's have that discussion, because now you've seen my collection of keyboards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I really think I have more than enough. Not to mention all the virtual pianos. I have Steinway samples, I have Rhodes samples, I have some really awesome sounding pianos. So, will I get the MODX M8 or any of the M's? What about the Montage? Let me explain my rationale to you. All right, I got a very good question about the MODX M8 and the Montage. Pretty much, what is my opinion about these two keyboards? Well, I enjoy playing both. I have a Motif XF8, which is a predecessor to these. So quite familiar with the Yamaha sound and layout and what to expect. But getting more into the technicalities, personally, I don't do a whole lot of synth and pads and layering and stuff. I'm pretty much a more mono sound kind of a guy. So as far as the multi-layer capabilities and things like that, I think they're awesome. Like if I was scoring a movie and stuff like that, I would definitely look more into those capabilities. But for me, it boils down to the essentials, right? Does it have a decent piano? Does it have a decent electric piano? And the answer is yes, absolutely. It's got really nice sounds. The pianos are definitely decent. I have no complaints at all, you know. No complaints about the pianos, no complaints about the pads, the electric pianos. It's got great sound capabilities. Now, personally, a lot of what I do is perform with sequences and beats. So I need a backing band. This has got some sort of backing accompaniment, if you will, right? Same for the Montage M8X, but they're very, very similar to what I have on my Motif XF8. So as far as the accompanying sounds and beats, while they're cool, they're very similar to what I already have. So I probably would not be buying one of these for $4,000 or even at $2,500, which is decent. It's a decent price for this, but you wouldn't get me buying these because I already have keyboards that do what these two do. I have an OASYS and I have a Motif XF8 and I have a Triton. You know, so while I enjoy playing them, I probably won't be buying any one of these anytime soon. Same for the Nord. Love playing it, but I already have keyboards that perform this functionality, and it's not as though I'm gigging on stage every night like some other keyboardists who need that kind of thing. For me, though, it's the simple stuff that keeps me engaged and excited, like this one. Also by Yamaha, the DGX-670. I like the fact I can program on it, I can sequence on it, I can dump ideas down pretty quick, and that's what I love about the DGX-670. The Juno D, I like the fact that it's a cheaper option. Again, decent sounds. Maybe not as much as the Montage and the MODX, but still decent. Same for the CK88, also by Yamaha. Right? So there are a lot of cheaper alternatives, you know, to get in whatever you're looking for. But if you are in the market for a decent synth slash, you know, workstation, and when I say workstation, I still can't bang out a killer sequence on these things. Let me make it very clear, because I'm very much into sequencing. If you take a look at what it says here, more control, 8 new faders. That ain't going to help me with my sequencing. It's going to help someone who needs that on stage, right? Exceptional sound, 3 sound engines. To be quite honest, the average listener has no clue what a sound engine is like. All they know is it's a piano playing. You're either playing it well or not. Streamlined workflow. When you're on stage and you're performing and you need to move from sound to sound, you have many options. But that's not me, right? I ain't doing that kind of stuff. I'm a studio, pretty much stay at home kind of musician right now. I am not touring, I'm not on the road. And even if I needed to do multi-layer stuff, I have keyboards that can do it. So will I be buying one of these? No, I wouldn't. But I can appreciate them and I love how they sound. But in terms of what I have space and room for and need for, it won't be these, okay? And that's my candid opinion. That's my candid advice, you know. I'm not moved. I don't have the shiny object syndrome that everything I see I must buy. Otherwise, I would have bought the Nord long ago. Love the sound. Not a huge fan of the action, but love the sound. And pretty much at least half of the keyboards in this room, I quite enjoy. You know, even down to the P series, the Yamaha P143, I quite enjoy that. The FP30X, I quite enjoy. But in a recent competition that I had for the best piano action, it wasn't the Nord. What came out tops was indeed the Montage. So I love the piano action. I mean, it just gives me that buzz, makes me want to play. Very, very at home with it. Now, on the flip side, the Mod X, I don't get the same piano action feel from the Mod X. It seems a little bit stiffer, less fluid for me. So it's still the Montage as my favorite. My Motif is almost as good, but I think there's something about the Montage that makes it feel just a tad lighter somehow, personally, you know. And again, some of these things might be circumstantial based on the actual model that you're playing. But if you are in the keyboard market, you're looking for a keyboard and you're a newbie, I'll show you a few options. So if you are a stock noob and you want a keyboard just to get rolling, get a $199 keyboard. Or if you have the budget for something else, go for the $299. In economies of scale, keep going up. Or if you have the budget for this heavy one, which I have, go for that. And it really depends on what you have the budget for. This is another sturdy, awesome keyboard, the CK88. It's lighter than this one, and it's easier for you to move that around. That's $14.99. The Juno D is another great one. A little bit on the heavier side of the keys, but still I enjoy playing weighted keys. This is $11.99, which is a crazy steal. Yeah. Oh, this is a, let's see. Yeah, this is a Juno D8. So 88 keys. It's another option. And over here we have the CP88. This, I actually prefer the piano action on this one. But again, if you're just starting, you might not even care. This is $27.99. And then coming down over here, and a few others. I haven't featured this one, the Aturia Astrolab 88. That's $24.99. Does feel quite nice. That's the 76 key version of the CK. And oh, it's actually the 88. So that's $13.49. Huh. I wonder why the prices are somewhat different. I think one of these is a used one. Yeah. So it's got some scratches and dents. That's why it's $100 less. Okay, and then we've got some old Korgs here. Again, you got to be careful when you're buying some of these old Korgs, because sometimes they either have keys that are deficient or the sounds don't, altogether play well. So I'll say just do your homework, play it thoroughly before you decide to buy a used one. That's pretty old Roland VK7 organ, but I've demoed that prior in the store, and that's pretty much what we've got here. Okay, so as far as deciding, whether to embark on getting something like this, you got to ask yourself, what am I trying to do? Am I learning? Here's some other options from Casio. It's a $399 keyboard, $549. And again, it really depends on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to just learn piano, well, that's another option for $469, because you got to get into the good habits of the piano, getting familiar with how it feels, the weight and so on. So that's a P143. That's a P225 for $749. Because I'm more of a producer kind of guy, I would go for this, which I already have, plus many others. But if I was just starting out, if you took me back like 30 plus years ago when I started, if you gave me this, yeah, because this is really all about the theory. I wanted to get the theory down. I needed to know, I needed to know chords, 1, 3, 5 on all the keys. I needed to know the minor keys on all the keys, so on and so forth, because that's what will constitute the building blocks for you. It's not all the razzle dazzle that I've been showing you on all these other keyboards. You could have the best keyboard, but if you don't have technique and you don't have the fluency, you don't have the aptitude, you don't know how to maneuver your instrument, you can have the best instrument in the world and still not get decent sound out of it. Okay. All right, my friends. Well, that's all I have for today. I hope this made sense for those of you who are asking, would I get the MODX or the Montage? Probably not. Nope. And don't forget, you also have other options here. Like, for those of you who are into just playing at home, not necessarily playing outside, you've got a lot of these MIDI keyboards. Like, I have one that's about half of this. And when I need to travel, I go with it. You see, $200 keyboards, $100. Some of them are even under $100. There you go. There's a $89 MIDI keyboard. These are good for you creating music at home and so on. That's a decent one for a keyboard that big. A MIDI keyboard, $129. Again, if you have a computer, you could actually go for a MIDI keyboard depending on what you're trying to achieve. Okay, hope this made sense. See you next time.